Hey friends, how's it going? This is David Potts with Song Notes, and today I have a little exercise for you, a quick riff sort of thing, where I'm going to talk about taking a riff, a melody line, right? And I'm going to talk about combining it with some chords that you're strumming. So I had that 3-page PDF handmade at my website ready for you. It's lesson 364 at playsongnotes.com. Just punch that number in, it'll come right up. And the idea here is I had this melody in my head, right? And I knew the chords it used. It used a G, and it used an E minor. Okay, 4 basic chords. An A minor, and then a D7. But my goal was to sort of play these both at the same time in a way that was satisfying, in a way that sort of gave me some strumming, something to do with my hands, but also satisfied that phrasing itch that my brain just wanted to keep hearing this melody over and over again. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you 4 or 5 different steps I took along the way as I worked this out. And at the end of the day, you get this, which combines the strumming with the melody. And once more, it sounds like... Alright, so that's what is in store for you with this lesson. Jump ahead if you know what you're looking for. And I'll say it to close, this is inspired by the song Drinking Problem by Midland from 2017. After the chorus, there's like a post-chorus or a chorus part 2, whatever you want to call it, that uses this something sounding close to this melody and something sounding close to these chords. So that's a song I would recommend as per this video. But let's get into it. Get the PDF at my website, lesson 364. And thanks you all very much for watching. I'll see you on the other side. Let's get into it. Let's go. All right, so to begin with, we just want to look at these 4 different chords. Okay, so this is a G major chord and an E minor chord and an A minor chord and a D7 chord. Okay, these are all standard, just very common open chords on the guitar. And if you're just getting started with this, you might just want to get, familiar. However you want to sort of go through your strumming or your finger style, whatever it is, right? There's nothing wrong you can do. Just get familiar with the chord shapes, get used to switching between them. And I'd say a prerequisite here is being able to switch between them with some degree of, regularity. You can keep a tempo, even if it's a slow tempo, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, A minor, and D7, right? Right away, you want to look for things to make those transitions easier. For example, with the G to the E minor, the most common easy thing you can sort of notice is that whatever finger you play on the 5th string on the 2nd fret is going to stay there. And you basically move your 6th string finger to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Okay? So again, the G, the E minor. Notice how that 5th string finger is staying still. All right? And now, when you go to the A minor, to the D7, this finger, your index finger on that 2nd string is staying still. From the A minor to the D7, okay? I don't know if these are called anchor fingers or pivot fingers, but the idea is whenever you're switching between 2 chords, if there is any fingers that are staying still, those are like very valuable. They make the transition very easy because that's one less finger you have to move, and it can kind of provide an anchor for you that you can keep in place while you move the other fingers. So first get used to that G to the E minor to the A minor to the D7. Now, again, we want to sort of keep this melody in mind. And you could repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. But our goal is to combine that with the chords. So how can we do that? And this is where the second step comes in. The second step, and this is really the first step I took towards combining them, is to add the 3rd fret of this high E string. We're going to add this to all 4 chords. Check this out. So it's already in the G chord. Right? But what we want to do for this E minor, instead of leaving this thinnest string open, we want to keep our pinky here. So basically, you take your G, keep your pinky still, and then move these fingers down here to play the E minor. But again, that thinnest string stays on the 3rd fret. So if you were to play the G and the E minor, and the G and the E minor, get nice clean string sounds, this note is a consistent note between them. And now, when we go to the A minor, we're going to keep that finger there as well. So we go from our E minor to the A minor. Okay, so open, 2nd, 2nd, 1st, 3rd. Technically, this becomes an A minor 7. Okay? And then lastly, we want to go to this D7. Normally it's played like this, but we want to keep that pinky there for the D7. So that's going to become, technically it's like a D7 sus4. And then we're going to sort of resolve that. I don't know if resolve is the right word, but we're going to sort of go back down to a regular D7 before we repeat the whole thing. So then get used to this, right? The G, to the A minor, to the D7. And you could spend time with this. Add strumming as you please. Just get clean sounds with your strings. That's the most important thing. Okay? And I have the figure diagram here for you in figure 1B on my tab. The way I like to do it is I typically use my ring finger for the G on the low E string. My middle finger is right here on the 5th string. And when you go to the E minor, you keep your middle finger still. Okay? And you keep your pinky down as you go to the A minor 7. And then you go to the D7 sus4. And you repeat the whole thing. So again, if this is giving you trouble, spend time with it. Look at my PDF and try to get those clean guitar sounds. Take some breaks, come back to it. Your pinky might hurt because of the thin E string. But basically, spend time with it. If it's giving you continued problems, give it a day or two, a couple practice sessions. It will take time to build up. But if you're sort of feeling good and want to move on, let's move on to the next step here. And the next step is going to be to add a bit of flourish. So I found myself doing what I just showed you, but I wanted to spice it up a little bit more, right, as I work towards this melody riff. And one idea I had is, can I add these sort of basic walk downs to sort of combine, not combine, but transition. So here's one tab you can use. This is one where we're going to add a single sort of walking bass line note, and it's going to be on the 4 count, just before each new chord. So it would look like this if you played it slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you repeat it, okay? That last note on the final 4 count is an F sharp note, 2nd fret of the low E string, and that's meant to transition you back up to the G note, the 3rd fret of the low E string, which is where the whole thing starts. So figure 2A is a nice simple exercise if you want to get comfortable with the basic sort of walking bass lines. You can sort of spend time with that one. If you want to level that one up a little bit, check out figure 2B, where I basically do the same concept, but I add an additional walking note to sort of make those transitions a bit more pronounced. That would sound like this. And it goes without saying, I hope, but for any of these little tabs I'm showing you, feel free to take them and then spice them up. Go, just add your own strumming or add your own finger style. And I'll do a free play here, for example. I don't have this tabbed out, but you might play it like this. If you were doing finger style, or okay, just play around. Again, here's the sort of structure you can use. Feel free to sort of dance between the lines or whatever metaphor you want to use. So that's one way you could do it. Now, here's the deal. When I put this together last week when I was playing this, I thought the walk downs and walk ups would be an important part of what I ultimately played. And it turned out that I actually ended up ditching those. And the reason why is I wanted to get back to the melody. And I found that keeping the walk-ups and walk-downs while also doing the melody was a bit too much. So I'm going to sort of deviate and pull back from the walk-downs and walk-ups. If you want to stay with those, you can. That's like an off ramp or a zigzag or whatever. You can sort of spend time on that tangent if you want. But I'm going to pull it back to the main sort of path now and show you this new exercise. And this one is going to be starting to bring the melody in a bit more, with a bit more higher fidelity, so to speak, right? Because we already had our pinky up here, right, for the couple chords. We want to keep that there, but we want to bring in this idea of going between this G note and this F sharp note. Because listen. Right? For those first couple chords, it's a really big idea, a really big important part of the melody is going between these two notes. So here's how you can do that. So figure 3A again. This is what it sounds like. Let me walk you through this, because this gets a little bit tricky with finger position stuff going on here. So the main idea is we want to take those shapes I already showed you, but we want to be able to add this second fret note on the high E string, like I mentioned. And it's going to be tricky with our finger positions, because lots of times we don't have a finger that can easily get to that note. So that's why we want to sort of be mindful of finger positions here. So check out figure 3B. This might look a little bit complex with all the red arrows, but again, it's for your benefit here. So with the G, the idea, we're not necessarily doing full strums here. I'm sort of doing the bass note and then the thinnest 3 strings for the most part. Now we have our ring finger down here and our pinky up here. But the idea is we want to be able to play our second fret on this high E string, and we're going to need our middle finger on our left hand to do that. So basically, this is kind of how you want to be thinking of it, is ring finger down here, pinky right here, ring finger right here, middle finger right here. Okay, so this is a G, and this is a G major 7. And get comfortable going between those two, right? And in the full riff I showed you earlier, which I'll come back to, right? Now for the E minor, it's going to be similar. But we're gonna let off the lowest string. That's a bottom string is a low E. Now here's the deal: is I like to move my middle finger to this second fret of the 4th string, and keep your pinky still. So you have open second, open second fret on the 4th string, and then open 3rd. Okay. But then we want to take our pinky off this sometimes, and then we use our ring finger on this 2nd fret of the low E, of the high E string, okay? So if we just worry about the thinnest 3 strings, it's going between this and this. But if you want to eventually work towards some fuller strumming, that's why I like to have my middle finger right here, is it really retains that E minor sound if you were to play the thinnest 4 strings. Okay, so I'm playing the thinnest 4 strings right now on the E minor. And you could sort of set the mood by doing the low E string. So let's look at that G to the E minor, to the G to the E minor. Now this is tricky because your ring finger is having to move from the low E string up to being on duty for the sort of thinnest string on the 2nd fret. So this is definitely tricky. But let me show you the rest of it because it might all come together hopefully for you. For the A minor, it's a bit more simple. Basically want to do 2 strums of the A minor 7 and then take our pinky off the high E string, and then we have a regular A minor, okay? And then for the D, we're going to have this new shape up here. So this is going to be a triad shape. So we can leave this open as our bass note and then do open 7 7 5. This is a D, okay? But we're going to sort of augment, not augment, we're going to add to this D chord by starting off by doing this note right here, which would make it a D7, okay? This is a D7, and if you move to just open 7, 7, 7, that's a D6, and then this is a regular D. So this note is the 7th tone, the 6th tone, and the 5th tone. This is the minor 7 technically, but we just say 7 to 6 to 5. That's why I have D7, D6, and a regular D. Okay, and we want to keep these two 7th fret notes on the 7th fret as our idea here. So to get back to the tab to keep it a bit more just tactically explained, open 7, 7, 8. Okay, then we let our ring finger off, open 7, 7, 7, and then open 7, 7, 5. Okay, so that D measure would be 4th string. One more time. So that's basically the last 3 notes of that melody, right? Right? And then it starts the whole thing over. So figure 3A, if you played it nice and slow. Whoops. Take this one really slow. Don't worry about the rhythm just yet. Just get the chord positions. Get the nice finger transitions happening so you get those clean sounds. Sort of cheating here. I did a regular E minor. The reason I don't like to do this regular E minor with the 5th string push down is it makes it hard to get that 2nd fret note. This is such a pinch, right? If you're having to do 2nd fret, and then 2nd fret. That's why I don't even play the 5th string. A minor. Okay, so figure 3A, it's a little bit of a finger position challenge for sure. Take your time with it. If you're having trouble with it, take a break. Okay, you can come back to it. Just, get used to this idea of the G7. Just focus on just that. When you get ready, bring in the E minor. Okay, we're not pushing down the 5th string. And the A minor 7. And you have this D shape. Okay, and when you're done with that one, we can move on to figure 4, which is going to be the final full riff. Okay? So this is all stuff we've already learned as far as chord positions. The only real challenge here is going to be just bringing in the timing. So you follow my... Follow my tab there and it'll sort of give you what you need. Basically, I drew the gray lines to designate that's when you're actually doing a strum on those counts. So in the first measure, for example, you're resting on the 4 count. In the second measure, you're resting on the and count just before the 4 and just after the 4. On the third measure, you're resting on the 4 count, and then you bring in the D a little bit early on the 4 and count just before the last verse starts, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and you repeat the whole thing. So that's basically the final form of this riff, is it combines this and you repeat the whole thing. It combines that with the chords. And after this time, I'll play the whole thing. All right, so hopefully that gives you the idea there on how to combine these two things. I hope you learned something in this little exercise. Again, if this is something you're interested in, I hope hopefully my step-by-step thing was helpful for you, and that was sort of showing how I was working through it myself. And again, this was not a linear process. Like every step I took did not fully build on itself. Sometimes I went in a direction, like adding the walk-ups and walk-downs, that I ended up changing away from because it didn't fit where I ultimately wanted to go. And sometimes that's how guitar playing is you're trying things out and seeing how they work. So again, hope this is helpful for y'all. Thank you all very much for watching. You can get the PDF on over at my website. This is lesson 364. And again, check out the Midland song, Drinking Problem, because this melody comes from the sort of post-chorus section of that song, which is a great song and I really enjoy it. So thanks all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.